economic status. Israel bonds helped turn a struggling state into a progressive and dynamic nation with a booming economy. Today, Israel is a major source of global innovation. Israel bonds will help build the modern infrastructure needed to support continued miracles of science and technology. As we rejoice in 60 years of unprecedented achievement, make Israel bonds the means by which you demonstrate your pride. There is no better way to celebrate the past than by building for the future. I know your bond with Israel will be forever strong. Thank you.
Yes. I've had the pleasure of visiting Israel twice in the last 2 years. For those in this room who are Jewish or non-Jewish, if you've not been to Israel recently, you need to go. You need to put it on your agenda and plan to visit a beautiful country. Joshua Matzah came to the United States in March 2002 after resigning from the Knesset to accept Israel Prime Minister Ariel Sharon and Finance Minister Silvan Shalom's invitation to lead the international campaign of the State of Israel bonds. As a teenager, he was a freedom fighter in the underground during Israel's fight for freedom and the subsequent War of Independence. He became a captain in the Israeli Defense Forces after Israel achieved statehood. As a young man, he studied auditing and accountancy in Jerusalem and later was associated with a prestigious accounting firm. As a civic leader, Mr. Matzah was elected to the Jerusalem City Council and rose to become its deputy mayor. He was also chairman of the board of the Government Housing and Development Company, the largest company of its kind in the state of Israel. And as a political leader, he served in the Knesset, Israel's parliament, for 18 years and as a member of the cabinet as the Minister of Health. One of Mr. Matzah's final achievements as a legislator was spearheading an amendment to the basic Jerusalem law, which enshrines the principle of unify and indivisibility of Israel's internal capital. Mr. Matzah and his wife Rachel reside in Jerusalem, where his family has lived for 13 generations. They have 4 children and 8 grandchildren. It is my distinct honor to welcome a mensch and a wonderful human being. Please join me in a Columbia welcome for Joshua Matzah.
Thank you, John. You are really fabulous and so appreciated in this community. Thank you. And thank you, of course, for your kind introduction. I have said it before in this morning, and I would like to say that the best part of this introduction is mentioning our 8 grandchildren with my wife here. When I started 6 years ago, we had 5 grandchildren. Then it came to 6, 7, 8, and thank God we hope that in the next month it will raise to 9. So these are 9 grandchildren, all of them residing in Jerusalem. They are real Jerusalemites. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to culminate my first visit to Colombia by joining all of you in paying tribute to Johnny and Shep. I want to salute your community and really every one of you. What a great evening with such people committed to Israel bonds, committed to Israel itself. So it is really with great appreciation that I salute your community and, as I've said, every one of you. On behalf of Israel and on behalf of Israel bonds and the strengthening of Jewish life in this area, the fact that the state of South Carolina has purchased $30 million in Israel bonds is both a vote of confidence in Israel's economy and future. It is a tribute to your dedication and hard work. So I say to you a sincere Toda Rabba. To our honorees, I extend my personal congratulations for your many achievements, as well as for the deserving presentation of the Gates of Jerusalem Award. I am a Jerusalemite. My family, 13 generations in Israel, in Jerusalem, so I can appreciate what is such an award of the Gates of Jerusalem. Ladies and gentlemen, as you have just seen in the video, Israel at 60 is an amazing country. In fact, from the very moment of its independence, Israel was an amazing country. The Jewish people returned to their land, speaking their original language after more than 3,000 years, going forth with strength and determination. I would say it is perhaps the greatest achievement in all of record history. However, today, Israel is truly a marvel to behold, a country of great achievements, to be sure, but full of extraordinary potential. President Shimon Peres convened a 3-day conference just 2 days after celebrations the 60th years of independence. And this conference was to discuss that very subject during the week following Yom HaAtzmaut festivities. It was called Tomorrow. You could see in this celebration, in this conference, presidents, prime ministers, dignitaries from all over the world, sitting with us 3 days. I was there. Even President Bush was there. And I was very proud to be in attendance at the conference with theme, as I've said, Facing Tomorrow. It had the participation of really world leaders, Nobel Prize winners, technological innovators, and more, all gathered in Jerusalem to discuss the future, to discuss the day of tomorrow. This is the greatest and the greatness of Israel at 60. A once struggling nation is now a gathering place for some of the greatest minds in the world. It is a focal point for creative development and global innovation. Israel is indeed fulfilling its self-appointed mandate as a light unto nations. President Bush took more note of this in his stirring speech to the Knesset, and I was there. I will tell you, I was a member of the Knesset for 18 years. And we had there a lot of speeches. A lot of speeches. And even presidents, prime ministers. I would tell you that this was the best of the best. This was a Zionist speech. We couldn't expect more than this. And the president said, and I would quote, "When Americans look at Israel, we see a pioneer spirit that worked an agricultural miracle and now leads a high-tech revolution. We see world-class universities and a global leader in business and innovation and the arts. We see a resource more valuable than oil or gold." And you know, today the gold or the oil, we don't know what is more precious. But it's more than oil and gold. The talent and determination of a free people who refuse to let any obstacle stand in the way of their destiny. Their destiny, I would say, gentlemen, that it is the destiny of the Jewish people worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, this would not have been possible without the steadfast assistance of Israel Bonds, without your backing, without your investments, without the investments of the Jews all over the world. This time, coming to Israel, I arrived there with a delegation, from worldwide delegation, 1,000 people, South America, Europe, Canada, and the United States. 1,000 people. And of course, the first station was Masada. Now everyone knows what is Masada. After the speech of Bush, I think that everyone knows now in the world what is Masada. So it was wonderful. And then we were at the celebrations in Mount Herzl. It was a wonderful, wonderful celebration of the 60th years of Israel. So without you and the people that are backing and devoted to Israel and to Israel Bonds, we could not do it. And you have seen the video, a little bit, which speaks about your devotion and your commitments. So, however, Israel Bonds is not a complacent organization. We are always looking forward in an effort to take Israel to the next level of economic achievement. This is why Israel scheduled a Knesset salute, and this time we had a Knesset salute to the Bonds as part of its 60th anniversary celebrations, not only for the legacy of the past, but for paving the way for the promise of the future. Together, Israel, the Israel Bonds Organization, and of course, every investor in Israel Bonds, and of course, with you, will help shape an Israel that will exceed all expectations. Thank you for all that you are doing, and again, my sincere congratulations to Johnny and Shep.
This is your opportunity to make your commitment to the State of Israel during its 60th anniversary. We hope that you'll take that card out. There are pens on the table right now. We're going to talk briefly about each of the bonds, and we'll let Brad do that. This is an opportunity to celebrate Israel's 60th anniversary, and it's an opportunity to say a mazel tov, a congratulations to Shep and Joni. It's an opportunity for each of us to make our commitment to our ally in the Middle East, the State of Israel, the greatest ally that the United States has. Let me call on Brad Young at this time, who will briefly talk about each of the bonds, and we'll also talk about the financing program as well. I've had the chance to visit Israel, as I mentioned, twice in the last 2 years. I've seen the bonds money at work. I can tell you the money is being well spent. We're selling $1 billion worth of bonds worldwide every year, and that money comes out of the Israeli economy. Let me just tell you a couple of things about my trip very briefly. 2 years ago, I went up to the north where the 6-week war was waged with Lebanon, and there was significant damage by the Katyusha rockets. For those of you that don't know what a Katyusha rocket is, imagine a tin can that's this tall full of ball bearings raining down on towns and cities, schools and highways, houses and businesses. And for 6 weeks, all of the people who lived in the northern part of Israel had to get out. Now, imagine for a moment that you could not do your job for 6 weeks and didn't get paid. The State of Israel's government paid everyone a salary while they were out of work at that time. The towns that we visited in the north had been damaged in July and August, severely damaged. I was there the first week of December. I saw no damages whatsoever. The government had completely repaired every road, every utility, every house, every school, every business. Remarkable what you see in the State of Israel. Brad?
Thank you, John. Thank you for to everybody for coming here tonight. The first thing I want to do is certainly to congratulate Joni and Shep for being recognized tonight by Israel Bonds with our Gates of Jerusalem Award. Israel Bonds really has a very special relationship with the Columbia community, and it's due wholly in part to the tremendous leadership we have here. Joni and Shep are certainly representative of that leadership and commitment to Israel Bonds. We could not ask for better honorees tonight. Their involvement into making tonight a success was a 110% effort from the mezuzahs that were handed out to everybody, to the people who flew in from around the country to be here to share in this evening with them. Your efforts have certainly paid off. They're tremendously committed financial investors in Israel Bonds as well, which is greatly appreciated. So on behalf of everyone here in this organization, I want to say congratulations to you tonight. We could not have asked for more deserving honorees tonight than the two of you. Thank you very much. I also want to thank Jerry and Sue Klein for chairing our host committee this evening and for putting in so much time and effort into making tonight so successful. Larry Needle as well, our Columbia Bonds chairman, and John Baker for all his hard work as a National Campaign Cabinet member. I want to take this opportunity to ask everyone here tonight to honor Shep and Joni by directly participating in the building of the State of Israel through an investment in Israel Bonds. As has been mentioned, since our inception in 1951, Israel Bonds has provided more than $27 billion in investment capital for the State of Israel. There has never been a default on payment of principal or interest on these bonds. Israel Bonds are backed by the full faith and the full faith and obligation of the State of Israel. Supporting Israel through investments sets Israel Bonds apart from any other organization or enterprise. To have peace with security, Israel needs large investments of foreign capital in order to have a secure future. Please take this opportunity tonight to support Israel with an Israel Bonds purchase. Purchases by individuals like you are the backbone of our organization. Israel Bonds offer competitive interest rates to help you plan your future and that of your family and/or your business. Israel Bonds are currently rated investment grade by both Moody's and Standard & Poor's. In addition, hundreds of thousands of people own bonds. Individuals, corporations, states, cities, unions, universities. across the board, a large community of people with a vested interest in Israel's well-being and good fortune. Each of you received a commitment card when you arrived tonight. I would like to ask you to complete your investment form and take a moment to look at this, and I will describe the investments. My colleague Brenda Rothschild in the back of the room will be glad to collect the envelopes from you. The first thing I want to talk about is our bond financing program. Bond financing allows individuals to send a large amount of money to Israel for a relatively low annual cost. Through our bond financing program, you agree to guarantee a bank loan to Israel for a minimum amount of $100,000. The loan is made in your name. There is a national bank who has agreed to finance Israel bonds for our customers throughout the country. There's information on your table about this bond financing program. For $1,200 a year for 2 years, you can provide $100,000 to Israel. That is just over a 1% charge to provide significant operating capital to the state of Israel. A number of individuals in this community have participated in this program. I think we're at 6 and hopefully growing. It's a great way to get significant bang for your buck and make a real difference in helping Israel. If you are interested in learning more, please indicate it on your commitment card, and someone from our staff at Israel Bonds will be glad to follow up with you. In addition, we have Jubilee bonds that start at $25,000. We have Jubilee bonds that mature in 2 or 5 year increments. Next, we have our savings bonds, which are one of our most popular investment options. Savings bonds start at a $2,500 investment and can be invested in additional $2,500 increments. These are great for your retirement accounts or for a college savings fund. You can also invest in Israel bonds in your IRA as well. We have Mazel Tov bonds that start at $100, and these are great for simchas, great for bar and bat mitzvahs, for weddings, and for births as well. Lastly, we have those are 5-year maturities, our Mazel Tov bonds. Lastly, we have our floating rate LIBOR bonds, which are offered in 2 and 5 year maturities. These start at $5,000 and can be invested in additional $2,500 increments. Those are floating rates, which mean that the rate is set and then adjusted every 6 months on June 1 and December 1. Thank you again for your support, for being here tonight. And remember that you're not just buying any bond, you're buying a bond with Israel. Again, when you have made your commitment, if you'd like to hold up your envelope, my colleague Brenda Rothschild will be glad to collect them. Thank you again.
I want to ask Senator Joel Lurie if he'll come up, please, at this time. I also want to announce that we have 2 significant bond purchases from our community. We do not have representatives here tonight, but BB&T renewed its commitment to the state of Israel in the amount of $350,000. Let's give them a hand. And we have representatives here this evening from the Central Carolina Community Foundation. We want them to stand. Laurie and Larry, y'all please stand. $80,000 commitment. We want to thank our friends at the foundation for their continuing commitment. As Joel comes up, again, ladies and gentlemen, hold up your card. If you have a card, please fill it out. If you hold it up, we'll pick it up so that we can get a count before our program. Brenda, here's a card up front. Just hold it up high, please. We'll come pick it up. There's 2 at this table here. Any other cards, please please do this for Joni and Shep. Do it for Israel. Do it for yourself and your family. Joel Lurie, our resident senator, has helped co-sponsor a resolution in the state Senate. He's going to present that resolution this evening. Joel, thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you and good evening. Could I ask Mr. Matza to come back up to the podium for a second, please? And while he's making his way up here, let me just echo what Mr. Klein said earlier and what I'm sure will be said later on this evening about our honorees, Joni and Shep Cutler. You know, we are so blessed to have them here in our community, and obviously they're very near and dear to all of us, so we wouldn't be here tonight. But I think what makes them so special, and Jerry, nobody could say it better than you did, is that it's one thing to be successful. It's another to share that success. And all of us that know Joni and Shep know not only do they share their success, but they enjoy sharing their success. And you can see that in their enthusiasm. And so God bless you, and just thank you for everything you do for this community. And now it's a pleasure. We wanted to just recognize very quickly a resolution that was passed in the Senate. And for those of you that follow the South Carolina legislature, you'll know that we have about 3 weeks left in our session, and we are not agreeing on much of anything these days. We still have work to do on the cigarette tax, on immigration, on payday lending. In the midst of all that, we did pause last week and pass a resolution that was adopted unanimously by the state Senate, and I would just like to read it. It's very brief here. To recognize and honor the people and the state of Israel on the celebration of the 60th anniversary of Israel's statehood. Whereas on November 29th, 1947, the United Nations General Assembly voted to partition the British Mandate of Palestine and create a Jewish state. Whereas on May 14th, 1948, rising from the horror of the Holocaust and the 6 million Jewish victims who perished, the people of Israel proclaimed the establishment of the sovereign and independent state of Israel. Whereas this region, long known as the Holy Land, has a very rich and culturally diverse history spanning thousands of years and holds great religious and spiritual significance to people of faith. Whereas the state of South Carolina and members of the worldwide Jewish community will help celebrate the 60th anniversary of the establishment of the state of Israel. Whereas since the founding of Israel, the United States has had no greater friend and ally in the Middle East, a relationship based upon mutually shared democratic values, common strategic interests, and moral bonds of friendship and mutual respect. Whereas persevering against great odds and tragic human suffering, Israel has built a world-class civilization, a vibrant democracy, a thriving economy, and a culturally and academically rich society, providing a homeland and havens to hundreds of thousands of Jews and their descendants from all over the world. Whereas the people of South Carolina and the people of Israel hold dear the democracy, the principles of democracy and freedom, and have mutually shared in the benefits of a free marketplace. Whereas during the last 6 years, the state of South Carolina has purchased over $30 million in Israeli government bonds that has been issued to assist with the development and restoration of the infrastructural needs of Israel. It is proper and fitting for the members of the South Carolina Senate to pause in their deliberations to express deep admiration and appreciation for the people and the state of Israel for all they have endured and accomplished. Be it resolved by the Senate that the members of the South Carolina Senate, by this resolution, recognize and honor the people and state of Israel on the celebration of its 60th anniversary. And Mr. Matza, I would like to present this to you as an appreciation for your coming here and spending time with us, and as a symbol for the great bond between South Carolina and the state of Israel.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's really a surprise, and I am really excited. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
As we continue to finish filling out our cards, I'd like to call Larry Needle, the Columbia Chairman of Israel Bonds, who will introduce our entertainment for tonight. Larry?
I've got the good jobs tonight. I get to introduce the entertainer, and I also get to announce at the end how much we've raised. So this is a good evening for me. The entertainment tonight actually is much different from what we've had before. Remember all of the speakers we've had talking about problems in the Middle East? Not tonight. We're not going to be talking about that tonight. So our entertainer has a lot of pressure on him. We'll have to see how well we do changing the format tonight. But it's our pleasure, and really thanks to Shep Cutler for finding our entertainer tonight. He is a very well-known performer, appeared on the Rachel Ray Show